What's up, friends? I am leaving to work and just want to keep this going. I have not been the most disciplined person lately, I'm going to be honest. I have been struggling because of a lot of reasons. My having a baby in the house and not sleeping much makes it very difficult to stay disciplined, and when you're tired all the time. And then on top of that, just work has been awesome, but that's kind of like the only place I've been disciplined at, and it takes a lot. And then other than that, just trying to stay intentional with my kids despite being tired and wiped out by the busyness of our lives. So but I'm getting better, and today I wasn't sure if I was going to get on, but here I am, doing well, trying to just make no excuses. Got to the gym for the first time in a few weeks this morning, and working on losing some of that sympathy pregnancy weight that I got as a man. And yep. So anyways, part of that no excuses is making a video still. So man, I know it's a running theme, probably been talked about to death already by so many, but I can't get away from this Kanye thing as a Christian, and that's just what I'm mainly going to be focused on today, so as I talk. But it's just such a huge deal, and I don't know if everybody realizes what a huge deal it is. Spiritually, culturally, everything. It is massive, and it's just, we don't want this to get lost in the news cycle of modern day, where we're so busy, we're so distracted that major things get glossed over in a day because the news cycle shifts to something else, whether it's whatever. And don't think that's not purposeful. Don't think it's not purposeful by the enemy, by political spirits, religious spirits. They want us to get distracted from the good news. They want to keep building up what's wrong, what's hard, and get us just moving on, because distracted people, it's God and Christianity, a lot of it, it's like there's a reason he says be still and know, and meditate on these things is repeated over and over and over again in scripture. We have to do those things because it takes focus to really get the meaning out of what's going on, to really stay in the right place, take captive your thoughts, think upon these things. That takes discipline, that takes focus. And so our distracted lives, like we're all guilty. I'm guilty. My phone goes off and I'm on to the next thing. Searching through Netflix, instead of sitting down and actually watching the movies I want to watch, I'm like scrolling through like, whoa, I wonder what else is on here. It's like I'm almost more interested in what's available than I am in actually digging into stuff. And that's not good. Now, choices aren't evil, obviously. There's nothing wrong with it. Choice is a beautiful thing. But our penchant for distraction is exactly what the enemy wants. He wants us to not dig down. So here I am. I'm not letting this Kanye story go away. It's so funny. I almost didn't talk about it because it's like, it's overplayed. People are heard everything. They've already thought it through. And then I got this comment on one of my posts about Kanye this morning, and just made me realize, no, we still need to talk about this. The comment was just about, it's a Christian friend of mine who's just skeptical, and that's one of the sad things I've noticed is there's a lot of skepticism about this. And I just want to say that, Christians, we are not supposed to be skeptical people. We're supposed to be optimistic people. We're supposed to be enthusiastic people, encouraging people. And we're not supposed to be skeptical. It's not in the Gospels. It's nowhere in the Bible. Nowhere does God say when somebody comes to Jesus, wait it out, see what happens. Wait and see how they act. I mean, these are the stupidest things, and yet we get them and we think it's wisdom, we think it's discernment, but it's not. It's a critical spirit. It's a religious spirit. It's a political spirit. Like, it comes in different forms and from different sources, but none of it's from God. None of it. You know, discernment means like if you're doing a business transaction and you can tell the guy's a shady business dealer, like don't make that transaction. But when it comes to people joining the faith, it says for everybody who comes to Jesus, you know, there's a party thrown in heaven immediately. Jesus doesn't say, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see if he really means it. I mean, that's so stupid. And it's so anti-God. It's so unbiblical. And this person who I love is literally one of my favorite people. I've had so much fun with him over the years. But he's just very skeptical, and I could tell he's been hurt. He listed examples of other Christians who were supposed to be good for the big deals, and they ended up messing up, which, you know, obviously in his opinion that hurt our faith, which I don't think it does. I mean, is it good for hypocrisy? Absolutely not. And are we under scrutiny? Of course. That's why we're not supposed to be leaders unless we're blameless in the eyes of the church and others. But the truth is, like, we've had this unhealthy expectation for Christians, especially young Christians, especially Christians new in the faith. And a lot of times, you know, when there's a Christian who they become a Christian and they're famous, they weren't Christian before and they become famous, guess what? They're going to probably mess up, because even though they're Christian and we're celebrating that, they're also immature. And unfortunately, just because they're famous, a lot of them are thrown into leadership roles immediately. A lot of them are thrown into influential roles immediately, and that just comes with their territory they already have. So we don't think about the how hard it is to be under scrutiny like that, to be under the microscope, so to speak, when you're a young Christian. Trust me, I've known Jesus now my whole life, and I've walked with him ever since I was 12 fairly regularly, except for a couple things here and there. But I'll tell you what, when, like, as much as I loved Jesus, there's maturity process, and I've made so many mistakes, and if I was under the microscope, the church probably would have excoriated me and been like, oh, like, how dare he do this to our faith? Like, oh, another hypocritical Christian. And guess what? The enemy would have used it. The world would have used it, because they're trying to bring us down. They don't want it to be. But here's the thing. Even if I was famous and I'd made mistakes, even if I was Kanye and tomorrow Kanye made a huge mistake and the Christians, we jump to judgment so quick, and the world would say, see, we knew it wasn't real. Even if that happened, the gospel's still spreading. There are more Christians today than at any time in history. Every day there are more people coming to Christ, like by the thousands, the hundreds of thousands. Iran is having revival right now. So guys, a Christian's mistake, it might hurt us in the press, it might hurt us in some areas, but it's not going to stop God from moving. And here's the thing, you know, it would really open the world up to us more if when a Christian made a mistake publicly and the church said, you know what, there's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for this guy cheating on his wife or running off with somebody or being caught in pornography, whatever it is. There's no excuse for it. But guess what? We open our arms back to them, to love on them, to build them back up, to help them, because we walk in forgiveness. We see the gold in them. We believe this now, you know, and so for a season, they're not going to be we're not going to support them being back in leadership or whatever, but we're going to build them back up because we love our people. We are a family, and we do make mistakes. Imagine if that was the church's response to mistakes. You know, imagine if that was how it was. And imagine right now, I see it everywhere. A lot of the church is celebrating Kanye coming in, and they should. That it should be. Legitimately, Kanye West is maybe the most important pop culture figure in America in the last 20 years, 15 years. And he's huge. If you're in the Christian world and you've been just listening to K-Love and only reading Christian books and watching Christian movies, if that's what you've been doing for the last 20 years, that's great. No big deal on that. But you do not understand what a big deal this is. Kanye West is legitimately, since I was in college in 2004 till now, he has been, it's a huge deal. The world loves him. He was one of their icons because he's so smart and he's so gifted, and he was very much a man of the world, very much a man of the world, and embraced things that we don't embrace as Christians. Embraced things that, and he was miserable. He was bipolar. He had all kinds of mental issues, anxiety, and he was miserable, and he was angry, and it came through in his music. But the world loved him for that, and he was an icon for life without Jesus. And I never forget, in 2005 during Hurricane Katrina, there was a celebrity fundraiser on television, live television. In that fundraiser, Kanye West is the guy who said, just out of nowhere, George Bush hates black people. Like, this is the kind of guy he was, just would spew out hate and vitriol, and but he was also so smart that they would just hold him up like champion of our cause. And this guy is such a big deal to that world. And the fact that now he releases an album called Jesus is King, and he's singing Jesus' praises, and he's singing about Jesus healing him from bipolar, and he's going on talk shows, and he is literally a wrecking ball to that culture in Hollywood and the media, the music world, that worldly humanistic side of it all, the hold that the enemies had on that. Kanye is a wrecking ball to that. And then on top of that, he's married to Kim Kardashian, keeping up with the Kardashians, the daughter of Caitlyn Jenner, aka Bruce Jenner, the transgender movement icon. She is the daughter of that man, and she loves Jesus now too. And she's known for things that are so unchristian. A sex tape, showing off her body to make money, all these things that are just, it's sad. But now she's so classy. I was watching her talk the other day on a clip, and she's like a different person, and he's a different person. His face is lit up with joy now, and you can tell the difference between somebody seeking, who's just had a church experience and trying something new, versus actually been touched by Jesus through relationship. And I can tell you that just from seeing it, Kanye and Kim, this is legitimate, this is real. You don't see that kind of change without it being real. And I'm so excited for this. It's been something I've been believing for a long time, that the cultural landscape's going to change. And I tell you what, when God does something like this, when he gets through to somebody like a Kanye or a Kim Kardashian, this is the kind of thing that changes culture. This is the kind of thing that is the markings of the beginning of the shift. There are so many people who listen to him and are going to be impacted by this, and especially in the black community. He was one of their heroes, their icons, and Kanye's out there speaking against the fatherlessness, against the victim mentality that's been come on because of a lot of it's been the political spirit that's taught African Americans that they can't do anything without government assistance. They can't do anything. And Kanye's out there, and he's telling them no, with Jesus you can. And let's rise up, and let's fight this. Let's bring fathers back. Let's get off of this poverty mentality, and it's so massive, and he is it's just such a beautiful thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm celebrating it, and I don't care if he makes a mistake tomorrow, because he's a young Christian. He's being disciplined. You could be 80 years old and be a wise old man and a woman, and just have the world systems known and down, and know how to operate in the world, and be so wise and all that, and yet you become a Christian, and you literally are born again, and it's like your maturity level as a Christian starts just like a child again. And so you got to understand, like, we can't hold that same expectation over Kanye that we would hold over a pastor of 40 years. That's ridiculous. It's not okay. And so we got to get past that skepticism. We need to embrace Kanye and Kim and be there for them if they do have stumbles, if they do have issues. But we also need to recognize, like, this is a momentous occasion. This is a Saul converting to Paul occasion. Like, this is the kind of thing that shifts culture. And so we need to celebrate this and recognize that God is getting to the most influential people now. He's reaching them. And yeah, he's doing this all over the world. But in America, the rich country, it's hard. It's hard to do stuff grassroots level because we have such a celebrity culture. And it's not impossible. It does happen. But when the celebrity culture churns, when the leaders turn, that is a major sign of revival, of things changing. So I am so excited about what's happening, what God is doing. I truly believe that coming up is going to be one of the most exciting times in history for the world and for America, and for what God's doing for the advancing of the kingdom. It's amazing. And so guys, be excited and don't turn to judgment. And I do encourage you all, speak kind words, but also call out your friends who are being, like, that might be Christians and are being judgmental about all this or skeptical. Call them out. Say to them, you think Jesus was skeptical when you became a Christian? Hold them accountable, because it is hypocrisy. And we could do it with love. We can do it as brothers, sisters in Christ. And our job is not to go out and judge the world, the lost people. They're already judged. They're sitting under judgment until they come to Jesus. That's in Romans. We are to hold each other accountable. So I'm holding you accountable, church, and myself accountable. Walk away from this judgment. Let's embrace these people. Let's celebrate them with love and bring them in so then they can grow in the nurturing, loving environment. And guess what? They're out in the world. They're going to be getting it from the media, from all the skeptical people. I've read a lot of stuff already from people outside the church writing about Kanye, and it's amazing the differences. Some of them are so mean and crass and just like hard on Kanye, and these people who used to love Kanye and celebrate him are just saying, like, he's a joke, like, oh, it's his mental illness, he's just crazy now, whatever. They're being so cruel. But then there's others who are saying, like, wow, this looks legitimate, this is crazy, like, we're happy he found something. And guess what? Those are people who their hearts are softening, that they're going to be receptive to what he's doing. And it's not Kanye's job to lead Christians right now, but God may have called him to lead the movement that is going to change our pop culture landscape. So anyways, those are some thoughts, but yes, as Christians though, guys, we don't have the right to be skeptical of this or judgmental. So celebrate this and don't fall into the trap of criticism, like, and skepticism and pessimism. It's all from the enemy. Don't fall into that trap. Get excited, because the best is yet to come. All right, God bless you guys.